Blog Talk Radio.
Your balls are showing.
There are two types of balls. There are big brave balls, and there are little meat balls. Your dicks have drive and clarity of vision.
The most important piece of equipment is called the cup. Now, it ain't no Dixie cup, and it ain't no coffee mug. And you certainly won't want to be drinking nothing out of it.
Hey, any balls down there? That's the biggest berry you ever seen, Dingleberry.
Wow, what time of these balls all day?
Well, it's my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Hey everybody, sorry about that. Welcome to Big Balls Fantasy Football, the show by real fantasy football fans for real fantasy football fans. We had a little bit of a technical glitch there. We are the beauty and the beast of fantasy football. I am the beast, your host, Greg Reifsteck. And it's week 1 in the NFL, everybody. Can you believe it? We finally made it. It's awesome. Can't wait for tomorrow night's game between Denver and Baltimore, the revenge game. It's going to be awesome. Wacko Flacco versus Peyton Manning. And all the drafts are finally over. We've given you the injury updates. We're going to give you some more this week. We've been keeping up to date on our Facebook page, facebook.com/BigBallsFantasyFootball. We've been doing a video cast giving you draft picks. And we have right now some first week picks up for you, but we're going to give you different ones on the show today, so you got to go there to get different picks at thestream.tv/bigballs, or you can go to our Big Balls Fantasy Football YouTube page. We will have the full episodes up there. So, like I said, we're going to have our injury update this week with our Packer backer PROST. He's going to be calling in with the balls to the wall injury report. That way you won't end up taking Dennis Pitta. Won't be playing Dennis Pitta this week. Somebody actually drafted him in a draft I was in this week. That's why you got to listen to our show. No homework involved in that. Guy was using a 3-month-old fantasy football magazine. We're going to have Cash on from the Lone Star State, our Lone Star correspondent. He is going to be giving us the gambles of the week, some unorthodox picks that you might still see out on the waiver wires that you just might want to pick up if some of the late-round picks you got don't quite jibe with you anymore. You can tweet us at BigBallsFBall during the show, and we will answer your questions. So I see my co-host, Jenilee, the beauty, is on the line here. Let's get her on. Hey, Jenilee, it's week 1 in the NFL.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing real good, except for a little technical hiccup there. We don't know anything about technical hiccups, do we?
It must be the season for that. I was going to say week for that, but it's the season for that.
It totally is so far. But we won't bother our listeners with that anymore. Are you're excited? It's week 1. I mean, you have your lineups all set. How many leagues are you in this year?
I'm in 3 leagues, actually, and I've never done 3 before, so we will see how it goes. I've done 2 of my drafts, and then I have 1 more left tonight. Yeah.
There's one at 6:30 that I'm going to try and join in on if we're not too busy here on the air. So we've been giving out all these picks, and we actually did a debate yesterday on our video cast about the Monday night game, but I wanted to talk about the Thursday night game because we did the debate on there. I mean, who do you think are some of the fantasy players in this Thursday's game that you think might be significant off the top of your head?
Well, I definitely think that Flacco is not going to perform quite like we saw in the playoffs. But I think Ray Rice will still be solid on the Ravens side. The Ravens defense actually looks decent in preseason, so, we'll see how they play. It'll be very interesting to see how they play against Peyton Manning. But I think Peyton Manning's a sure thing. Demaryius Thomas is probably a sure thing. Those are pretty much some of the guys, I think. What do you think?
I have Demaryius in one of our leagues. I have Eric Decker in another league that I'm in with you, and I am playing each of them, of course, because we have a Ravens defense that no longer has, Ray Lewis in it. How is that going to stand up? I mean, they've put some pieces in place, but it's not going to be the same Ravens defense. You used to see the Ravens defense go early in drafts, and I remember in your Balls Deep draft that I was in, I made a comment. I said, wow, the Ravens defense didn't even go, in the draft.
It's just such an interesting thing because, they do have some younger players they've gotten in there, because they lost so many players. So they're definitely not a defense, I would start by any means, and just the pure fact that Peyton Manning always puts up points. But they will be a defense, I think, to just monitor, in the first month or so of the season and just see how they play because we really don't know.
Yeah, we don't have we'll wrap this up with me saying I remember last year because Peyton had been out for so long with the neck injury, he came into his first game, and do you remember what he did? He had a pick-o-rama. He threw about 2 or 3 picks within I think he threw 2 in the first half, and then he threw another one, and everybody's like, see, his neck screwed up, Peyton Manning, he's going to be fucked, and look what happened. He's now going at least in the second, if not third or fourth round of every draft that you're in as a elite quarterback. It's just crazy. So are you ready for your Real Men Week 1?
Absolutely. Let's get into it. I have some different picks than I did on the show.
Sweet. Let's do it.
I need a real man. Have you seen him?
My picks. I have 3 picks for you guys that are all different from what I did on the show. We're trying to give you as many picks as we can. So my first pick kind of ties into what we were just talking about, Greg, in the Ravens-Broncos game, and that is wide receiver Torrey Smith. I like him because, for one reason, Champ Bailey has been ruled out, so I think that should definitely help Smith get open. The Ravens' best weapons are Torrey Smith and Ray Rice. Jacoby Jones hasn't quite proved himself yet, so Torrey Smith is really going to have to step up and be the receiver. And the Broncos do have a better run defense than pass defense. So even though I don't think Flacco is going to play, amazing, and I don't think he's really going to play like a starting quarterback that you would want in your fantasy, I think he's going to have to find Torrey Smith if they have any chance at winning. What do you think of that one?
There's no one else for him to throw to. Like I said, what is he going to throw to the guy in the third row? I mean, there's nobody else to throw to. You got to play Torrey Smith. He's one of the things you always talk about is you have to play the star players week 1 to see what's going on, no matter what the matchups are. You just do it.
Absolutely. And on that train, I actually have another wide receiver pick. Kind of in the same boat is Antonio Brown. And that's because Tennessee gave up the 8th most fantasy points to wide receivers last year. And their secondary has really, really struggled in the preseason. They only ranked 19th. Their corners are having problems tackling, so I just don't think that, unfortunately, the Titans secondary is not quite ready yet. And, again, it's who else do the Steelers have to catch the ball? Antonio Brown is going to be the go-to guy there.
Yeah,
it's
going to either be Antonio Brown or Emmanuel Sanders, and you can't play Emmanuel Sanders yet because he's brand new and you don't know what he's going to do. So I like it.
Awesome. And then my third pick for you guys is tight end Kyle Rudolph. Now, this one's kind of interesting. I just actually found this out today, but Adrian Peterson is not going to have his lead blocker in fullback Jerome Felton. And Peterson actually averages 6.9 yards per carry with him and only 4.6 yards per carry without him. He's been suspended for 3 games, I believe. So, that makes it interesting to see how AP will do. And also the Lions have a really good front four. So Ponder's not really going to have time. Not that Ponder's a great quarterback and throws deep anyways, but he's not really going to have the time with the Lions pass rush to throw those deep balls. So he's going to have to pass over the middle to Rudolph. And also Detroit gave up the 15th most fantasy points to tight ends last year. So I think he's a pretty solid tight end to get in your lineup.
After Greg Jennings drops 2-3 balls after being traded, the old man, he'll be dipping and dunking off to the tight end for sure.
Absolutely. And like I said, just with the Lions pass rush, I mean, he's not going to have a lot of time to even stand in the pocket and go deep. So I think Rudolph is going to get you guys some points this week.
Awesome picks on all of them. So you ready for Godzilla?
I am. Give me Godzilla.
Give you Godzilla. One day the Japanese are going to make me pay for that sound effect. Anyway, let's get into beast mode, everybody, right away, because we have a lot of guests on tonight. I am going different on my did Andrew Luck last night on our video cast. You can go look on the Stream.TV YouTube page, or you can go to BigBallsFantasyFootball.com onto our video cast page and find out why I recommended Andrew Luck, which is pretty obvious why he's in beast mode. But Jenilee, I have a real soft spot for one quarterback this season, even though I love our Jay Cutler. So I think you can basically know what pick this is. Take a guess.
Are you going to say Kaepernick?
I'm going to say Kaepernick. I haven't bought any NFL paraphernalia besides Bears gear in probably a decade. And I went out and bought a Kaepernick jersey because you got to know your enemies. And this guy sliced up our Bears defense last season, and he also sliced up Green Bay's defense in the playoffs last year. Total embarrassment. And guess who he's playing the first week? The Green Bay Packers. He completed 17 for 31 passes for 263 yards and 2 touchdowns. They kicked their ass 45-31. Kaepernick also rushed for 181 yards, which was a record for an NFL quarterback in a regular or postseason game. So I thought that Kaepernick embarrassed the Bears. He embarrassed the Packers even more, and he's going to do it again this week. At least I think so. What do you think of that one?
Well, I have to like the pick because they're playing Green Bay. So just off the pure fact that I want Green Bay to lose their first game of the season means that I hope Kaepernick does pretty damn good.
Damn right. My second pick is David Wilson, the running back on the Giants. We all know that him and Andre Brown were neck and neck, and they were going to do a split. On the depth chart, they were both listed as starters, and then poor old Andre fractured his leg last Thursday. So guess what? David Wilson gets to be the lucky guy and just gets to, basically steal the position away. But he's earned it. I picked him as a person to take in your draft, and he went very high in drafts because he had that famous fumble at the beginning of last season on the second play of his NFL career, and then he didn't fumble again. So he is going to put up some yards. He's the only guy running there, in New York, and we know how they like to pound the ball. So I think you really have to take Wilson. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, I love him. We even talked about last season just seeing him play just a little bit, and even preseason that he looked really good. He looks like he had potential. So this is his second year, and he's the only guy there now. So you want to take your starter running back. So I love it.
Yeah. And basically, my two first picks were pretty easy one-balls picks because you're just playing these star players, against these, defenses that they've kicked ass on before. But I have a four-balls pick, and that's because I picked a defense that you're only going to pick up off the waiver wire once, and then you're going to drop them because they're pretty mediocre. But Tampa Bay's D, you have to take them this week because they're the defense that's playing the Jets. And anybody that's playing the Jets, you just have to take them. You have Geno Smith going in there because Rex Ryan killed his quarterback in the fourth quarter of a preseason game. And at first, it was only going to be for a week and maybe he was going to go in. But now it's worse. It's 3 weeks out. Geno Smith, who we saw on in his last preseason game, go out of the back of the put his foot out of the back of the end zone for a safety. So that's not too crazy. So Tampa Bay is basically really good on the run defense. They've been killing run offenses. And Geno Smith is going to be forced to pass. So he's going to start throwing picks, and Tampa Bay is going to get you points. What do you think of that one?
I like it. They really worked on improving their secondary. They brought Goforth over from San Francisco. So I think their defense is going to be improved this year. And, again, like you said, with them playing the Jets, even though I think Geno Smith will end up being the quarterback of the Jets, at some point in the future, he's a rookie. He's going to be nervous. He's probably going to make some mistakes. So I think it's a great pick.
Cool. Neil was supposed to be on, but I don't see him on. So what I think we're going to do you have any FYIs at all for this week?
Well, yeah, my FYI, I did it on the show last night, but it is FYI, you need to be ready to expect Wacko Flacco instead of playoff Flacco. I do not think he is going to play well. He's playing away in Denver, for one, and he's really not a great quarterback away. How's the conditioning? It's week one up there in the mile-high air. So I just don't think Flacco is going to give you a whole lot of fantasy stuff. Hopefully he can get the ball to Torrey Smith enough to make Smith have a good fantasy week. So
definitely. I mean, Flacco is, he's a road guy. He's a road guy. I'd rather not a road guy. We've been making fun of him as not being a road guy. So it's just not going to happen. Yeah, he has this big money contract now. He has all of this looming over his head. We all know what big money contracts do. They just get inside of players' heads, and they don't play as well. And it's just going to be a debacle, I think, on that team because he has nobody to throw to. And I know we keep beating that dead, but that's just the way it is. I have an FYI, and I griped about Yahoo last night, but I'm going to gripe about Madden this week because Madden is driving me insane with all these commercials and all this hype for Madden 25. I can't play a team all the way to the end of the season. And you used to be able to put in, your team. You throw in the game. You put in your team. I put in the Chicago Bears. Just take them through to the Super Bowl, for crying out loud, and I'm all happy. Or I lose a few games, they have the Packers defense rated high, but I'm having a blast. I put in the game last year, and I don't think they updated it this year because they're not going to go backward, and I can only play the I can either play as a head coach or as a single player. And that, who the hell wants to just do that? So Madden, go back to being old school. Maybe I'll be surprised and I'll find something online that you put the old school back in the Madden this year, but I don't think you did. So, damn it, Madden, just come back, old Madden.
You know, I'm actually looking forward. My boyfriend wants to teach me how to play Madden because it's the one thing in football that I haven't learned yet. So I'm looking forward to learning and probably, hopefully, getting competitive at Madden as well.
It has broken up relationships, though. I'm just warning you. So don't beat his ass too bad and hurt his widow feelings, okay?
Oh, I think it'll take me a while to learn it. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes this season.
All right. I see we have Cash in the queue, and I'm going to bring him on. Hey, Cash, how's the weather there in Texas?
Well, surprisingly, hey, Greg, hey, Jenilee, surprisingly, it's cooling down. Well, cooling down for Dallas, Texas, meaning in the high 90s. So that's a relief compared to last week when it was reaching at times 106 and 108.
We've been baking here, haven't we, Jenilee?
Oh, yeah. Summer definitely came to us late. And we've been having humidity, which is strange for us, too.
Yeah. After the Balls Deep draft last week, we're just standing outside barbecuing, and I think your boyfriend Trey, Jenilee, he's sitting there grilling, and he was a trooper, man. I thought he was a hero because he's got barbecue smoke in his face, and it was like 95 out there. It was just insane, man. We were all sweating out there.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy. I felt bad for him because we barbecued when the sun was just like beating down on him. So.
Yeah, like 4:00. Yeah, perfect time. Anyway, Cash, you ready to give us your gambles of the week?
Yes, absolutely. So my number one gamble is really.
You don't like your theme? You don't want your gangster theme? You don't like your gangster theme anymore, huh?
Sure, well, I'll take that.
Okay, we're going to play your gangster theme this week. We have time.
All right.
Now I'm pumped up for your pick. See, now you can take off. There you go.
That works. Well, the first one that I have, it's my top one going into this week is T.Y. Hilton against the poor defense of the Oakland Raiders, and he had a great year last year where he had in his rookie season 50 passes, something like 800 yards. With 7 TDs and a little over 17 yards average per catch, and he was only second to Percy Harvin in yards per after catch, was about 8 yards, and I thought that was pretty impressive. And with Andrew Luck poised to have a really big year, I think he'll be a part of that, and so we're going to see him break through as either the number 2 or number 3 wideout out there, and could transplant Hayward Bay out there. Definitely.
I mean, I'm all crazy about Andrew Luck and anybody that he's throwing to, so I definitely back that. What do you think, Jenilee?
Yeah, I like it. He's a young player, and I think he's got a ton of talent, and he's just another weapon for Luck. So, I really like the pick.
Cool, Cash.
Thanks,
moving on.
Well, moving on, one of the things that there's been this particular draft is, unique in the sense that there's so many really good quarterbacks. and depending on your strategy, unless you went for Brees or Rodgers, you're probably holding back. And in fact, that's one of the things that I did in one of my leagues was to hold back until the very last round. And I have a couple of people that I've kind of looked at, and but I think one guy who just could come out to have a big year, believe it or not, is I think Terrell Pryor. He's not a great passer by no means. He is growing. He's going to be starting. But I think what he makes up in the passing game, and especially with the Oakland running game, with the injury history they've had there, I think he's got a chance to give you, and depending on your league setup, a couple, 2 to 3 touchdowns a game. And especially if your lead quarterback gets hurt, he may be somebody to consider, especially toward the second half of the year.
The great thing about Terrell Pryor is they weren't sure if he was going to be the starter, and he, of course, beat out Matt Flynn, and he went crazy on the Bears' second-string defense and third-string defense in that Raiders-Bears game. But the great thing about that whole situation is Carson Palmer was there last year, and he's not a mobile quarterback. And he would get tons and tons of fantasy points for you in the second half because they get behind. Their defense gets them way behind, and then Palmer would throw like 2-3 touchdowns in the second half. Pryor is mobile. He's going to be running for touchdowns, for crying out loud, on top of being he looks pretty accurate. He looked pretty accurate. Did you got to see some of his play, Jenilee, in that Bears game, right?
Yeah, I did. Shoot, I love it, Cash. It's definitely a gamble, but I think, like you said, later in the season we will really see, if he's worth picking up, because I know he'll definitely be on the waiver wires. And let's face it, Oakland's line, their offensive line, is playing absolutely terrible. So they need a mobile quarterback that can, get out of trouble and try to run and get a first down. So great gamble pick.
Thanks, guys. My third and final one, and I'm going to reiterate that I am a Chicago Bears fan because it feels like all my 3 picks have an Oakland connection. And the other one this one is Brandon Myers, formerly of the Raiders, who had quietly a great year last year, catching about 80 passes, and that's on a sprained left shoulder. And to the average guy, I don't know how many people can catch 80 passes in any kind of league, but I think it's phenomenal, and I think he's going to have a great impact on the Giants and with Eli Manning. And I see a great relationship building there, where I think Eli is going to go with them on long passes, as well as the red zone targets. So I think I do see a great week 1 from him, especially because playing the Cowboys, and it's usually not exactly a low-scoring game. In fact, I think it's going to be something like a 35-31 affair, and I think he'll at least get 1 TD out of it.
Definitely. Jenilee, what do you think of that one?
I like it. He definitely showed talent last year, and again, Eli is a good quarterback. A lot of people don't talk about him so much, but he is good. So I like that pick.
He won a few touchdowns. He won a few Super Bowls, I hear. He always gets overshadowed by his brother, but I mean, he's good. I mean, the damn guy's good. So, Cash, thank you very much. Are you going to stick around with us, or do you got to go?
I gotta go. I got a busy evening ahead, and but I am very excited about the new season with my leagues and how they perform, and so looking forward to catching it all, and keep in touch with everybody on Facebook as well as all the Big Balls Fantasy Football happenings around the clock.
Damn right. Week 1 is here. Thanks for giving us your gambles, Cash. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you next week.
Take care. Bye, guys.
Alrighty. Good night.
Good night.
All right. So Jenilee, we have a guest here. She is one of our newest members of our Big Balls family. I'm gonna bring her on. Let me make sure she's there. AJ, are you there?
I am here. Yes.
All right.
Hey, girl.
AJ,
Hey.
AJ is our legal eagle on our staff, but also first and foremost is a diehard Patriots fan. How long have you been a Patriots fan?
I have been running strong for over a decade now, and I cannot wait to see what they pull out this year.
Oh yeah. How do you think they look fantasy-wise?
I think they're pretty strong fantasy. I really want to see what kind of comes of Gronkowski in terms of his being able to step on the field and play as he has in the past. I think that Brady might find himself in a little bit of an issue in terms of getting to know, the new members he has, but I think he's a good teacher, and so things are going to move forward really well.
Yeah, I think Jenilee and I are already in a I'm in a bromance and she's in a romance with one of the receivers. She even had to write him. Jenilee, you wrote him in your draft, and then I wrote him in the other draft we were in. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, Tompkins.
Kembrell Tompkins. Yeah, we're in love with him already.
Jenilee has some good taste, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I had to steal from her.
I loved how he played in preseason. He was great, and I think Brady already loves him, so that's a good sign.
Agreed.
Yeah, he put the hand around the shoulder, and we know what that means. I'm going to start passing to you. So the reason I brought you on, AJ, and by the way, AJ's official nickname is Lady Justice, and that's because what do you do in the daytime when you're not fiddling around with fantasy football and sports?
Well, in the daytime, I am on the dark side. I'm a litigator. I do a lot of arguing, fighting, and writing.
But you're fighting the good fight for the good people, right?
Sure. A little bit of that too.
See, so there you go. But you're also a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, and tonight you're going to tell us of a little bit of a conspiracy you feel has happened on your own team with a quarterback. Well, I call him a running back, and he should have been a tight end. But you're going to tell us about him as a quarterback.
Well, I think we all know Tim Tebow. He fell a little short of the line in terms of performance. He wasn't a very strong player at all. It's kind of there was no reason that New England really should have picked him up other than to be associated with more of the good guy side. Tim Tebow has a great persona and looks fantastic in terms of having a great attitude, also his religious beliefs and morals. He's just the epitome of this all-American Captain Wonderful, I'd leave my children with him. And I think that the Patriots could definitely have used maybe a little bit of pick-me-up on the PR end, especially when Hernandez was accused of the crimes that he is currently facing, and there are continuing to be allegations against him as the days pass on. I believe today they recently released a video of him in some Boston club where two men were shot just a few hours later, and all these things continue to come up that look poorly for the New England Patriots, despite the fact that they are wonderful in their own right. And so having Tebow affiliated with that, it's kind of a clean me up game. But the good thing is that they are an amazing team and they know good skill, and they're not going to carry, unfortunately, dead weight. And so they had to let him go, as I had predicted last week.
But, I mean, you were telling me you think the only reason they picked Tebow up was just to overshadow all of the Hernandez stuff. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it. In fact, with having these players running into these allegations and their issues with their criminal matters, it definitely it does put that taint that there is that little underlying conspiracy that they weren't necessarily looking to pick up Tebow for his quote-unquote skills, but more for his polished, clean, good boy look.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it at the draft last week, the fact that Tebow's just the thing on top of it is Tebow only wants to be a quarterback. He won't play tight end for teams. He won't, be the trick quarterback guy that just runs. He has to be the quarterback. So, I mean, he had to have said that to Belichick, and Belichick was just like, okay, sure. And, of course, the Patriots don't get hurt having all of this, hype. What's Tebow going to do now? Every night on NFL Network, every night on ESPN, it was, what's happening with Tebow on the Patriots now? And he finally gets around to throwing 2 touchdowns in the final game, one of them that the wide receiver had to go up for and save him from, but being an overthrow. But, I mean, I definitely could buy into that theory. What do you think, Jenilee?
It's something that I definitely never even thought about. It never crossed my mind, but it totally makes sense now that you brought it up. I think that the Patriots are typically never on the bad guy end of things, and I think this Hernandez thing just shocked them, shell-shocked them in a way, so they had to figure out how to, how to make it better, how to get into the press where they didn't look as bad.
Yeah, I think it definitely came at the right time, unfortunately.
Yeah. So you also sent me an email. Do you have a few more minutes, or do you need to make it to your commitment?
Oh, no, I have a few minutes.
You had sent me an email about NFL UK and the fact that they have their own fantasy thing going on their website. What did you notice on that website? I mean, generally this was unreal. She sends me this link, and it's like British fans of the NFL playing fantasy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're trying to expand the concept of football with 2 O's on that side of the pond. Which it's kind of interesting, and just even reading kind of their setup, not in part just because a lot of their letters, they exchange out Z's for S's, which is a little fun, but they're still playing by the same kind of rules that we play by in fantasy football, and they're doing the exact same thing that we're doing here, and they're following our teams, and I know we're going to play a few games over there, which we've committed to, I think, for the next few years, kind of just to increase our hype, because football is so important to America, and getting it over there and showing them why they really need to embrace it. I think it has a really, really good sense about it.
Now, we have our injury reporter. He's been in our queue for a little while, and I wanted to bring up the whole NFL UK fantasy thing because Prost, our Green Bay Packer fan, who's in our biggest balls of them all league and everything, and he's been with us on our show since the beginning. He was a ravenous NFL Europe fan, and I want to bring him on to get his opinion on this. Hey, Prost, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, my brother? You know what? I love. What's up?
I was just going to say, go on with your opinion on this.
Oh, no. The Frankfurt Galaxy, they actually won the thing years ago. I mean, there's always been American football in Europe at the grassroots level. I was in a bar in Frankfurt when I was in the military there, and this guy says, do you play football? And I'm like, well, yeah, which kind? He goes, your kind. I says, well, yeah. He goes, can you try out for a team? I was like, sure. And it was a bunch of guys that like to play American football. Ironically, in European football, 11 guys use their feet on the ball, including the goalie, who's allowed to use his hands. In American football, 2 guys use their feet, the punter and the kicker. No one on the starting side uses their feet. So, anyway, that's my view on football.
But I mean, what's your opinion of it? Because NFL Europe, that was an experiment that the NFL did, and how many years did that last?
London's got a huge fan base. The games sell out there. Frankfurt and Hamburg had big bases. The problem is with the Germans, they speak a funny language. Anyone's ever been to England, once you get there, you go to speak German. The English is not American. Speaking English will freak you out if you speak with a true Englishman. But it sounds simpler for the average person walking down the street. to think, English will be easier. Trust me, it's not. Yeah. But I think it's a great idea. Basing a team there, no. Because you're a 6-hour flight from the East Coast, God forbid the West Coast with bye weeks. I think basing a team in London's a bad idea. But to showcase the game there a few times a week, why not? You're playing on Thursday, might as well play in England.
But doing fantasy from over there isn't bad. I mean, you can still be a fan and you can still do a fantasy team. I mean, that's the beauty of the internet. You can do it all around the world and
it's internet.
Keep up on it.
You're true. I play a Bundesliga football fantasy league. It exists. It's a concept that catches on because it's money making. If you're in a pay league, not all these websites are free. There are a few pay sites that get into it, leagues that are pay on free sites. It's a money-making venue. They're tapping into these fans. They have soccer fantasy leagues. So, yeah, the American football fan who follows it in Europe, they're all over it. They're more than happy to play the game, and I would like to try to get them involved in our league somehow.
Definitely.
I think they would love to be big balls fans.
Hell yeah,
I can speak a bit of the Queen's English.
Yeah, well, that's why when AJ sent me the link, you were the first person I thought of. I'm like, oh, man, NFL Europe. It used to be the NFL's farm team for the most part. So, yeah. So, AJ, I know you have
sorry, just catching AJ's bit. Talk about weapons of mass distraction. I mean, when you hear about New England in the news, Belichick keeps a tight lid on that stuff. Sorry, go back there. I'm sorry.
No, AJ, I know you have to get to a commitment, but I want to thank you for calling in and giving us your take on the whole Tebow letting go over there with the Patriots, and hopefully we can have you call with a few other conspiracies in the NFL soon.
That sounds fantastic. Thanks for having me.
All righty. Okay, have a good night. Thanks.
Take care.
All righty. So Prost, are you all ready to give us the balls to the wall injury report? We have about
to do the business, and I'll be quick about it. Fans of Ahmad Bradshaw and Darren McFadden know that they're currently not injured. Give that maybe till halftime. We'll see how that rolls with you.
Today they're not injured. They haven't even started playing.
Yeah, well, let's give them a half. It'll be all right. The biggest injury that will impact fantasy is that Andre Brown, the handcuff for fumbles Wilson, broke his leg in New York. So there's no real quality to back up Wilson, which actually is a good thing if you're a Wilson, because they'll be a little short on the hook. They're not going to want to pull him as quick. They don't have a backup to cover for his fumble issues. So they'll leave him out there for a while.
That's why I had him in beast mode in our segment earlier. I mean, I'm with you on that. He's the only guy running there. They have no depth there now. I mean, who the hell is his backup now? So that's pretty significant. Who else you got? That's a big injury.
Well, there's a laying upon of the hands that cured a lot of guys this week that are still questionable. Heath Miller in Pittsburgh, he's cleared to play, but he said, I'll play when I'm good and ready. I'm not quite ready yet. So as a fantasy option, unless you've got an early bye week, he's definitely one. I've got him on my roster. I'm holding him off because once he's up on the field and he feels he's ready to play, it's game on with him. I was looking for a third good injury or perhaps more. And it's really the clubs are being tight to the vest on this thing with week one. You hear about nicks and scratches, and the coaching staff says, oh, well, he'll be resting. And the player goes, no, I'm in there, dude. So at the moment, the best advice that I have is to check that ticker. Greg, I know you're on that. The Beast definitely covers that Sunday morning injury line. If you go to Big Balls Fantasy Football, and as soon as they pop up, he's got it covered. He beats the NFL Network captains. Their graphics people are slow. The Beast has you covered on the Sunday injuries.
Well, that's because you're sleeping it off, right, Prost?
Not necessarily. I tend to get up around 9:30 until I'm up at 9:45. It's not easy being me, for Christ's sake. I got to referee little kids soccer on Saturday mornings, and I got a dog I had to tend to.
You're a Packer fan. You should be up and you should be ready. Jenilee, what time are we at the Bears bar?
We have to be there by like 9:30 at least.
Yeah, you have to leave the
Well,
house
you
at 9:30.
Well, you understand why, right? Because the Bears don't get national television coverage. The Packers are on national TV, so I get up at 5 minutes to 10. I put on usually in the NFC affiliate Fox, and my Packers are up. I don't need to go reserve a seat. My team makes national football, national media coverage.
Since we got you on, Mr. Packer, tell us about your team fantasy-wise. Is this going to be another year where Aaron Rodgers is the only one getting you points, and then you have to sit there and pray to God that one of the receivers gets it? Because Jenelee's boyfriend, Trey, has like a super hard-on for Randall Cobb, doesn't he, Jenilee?
Yes, he does. He loves Cobb.
And why is that?
Because he's Percy Harbinish.
Yes. But is he going to be? Give us the inside scoop here, Prost. Is he going to be returning kicks this year for your team?
Currently, yes, which is against my better judgment. They've got a kid, Ross, who's almost as fast, and is not a starting wide receiver. I prefer be out there because Randall Cobb went down last year with a knee, and special teams is a dangerous job. So they throw the scrubs on there. You don't see your starting 22 players on special teams. They put the other kids out there and make them do that job. So I'm not a real big fan of that, but then again, I'm not in the – as an owner, I only have a quarter millionth of a voice. But, yeah, I like the way the team goes. Favre, Jesus Christ, he's
Favre?
Yeah. I just had a flashback. I was staring at my, yeah.
Were you staring at your Favre poster? Oh, God.
We miss you, Brent. We'll never forget you as long as we live.
Brent?
No, Aaron? Brent? Yes, Brent Favre. We'll never forget him. He was the best thing on earth. Yeah, you never... Brett. Jesus, I forgot. Oh, well.
Anyway, wrap it back to this season. Wrap it back to this season.
Yeah, Rodgers is, we'll call him Brady-esque, whatever, Manning-esque. He throws to the guy that's open. So, the nice thing I like is Lacy will be a good addition because he can pass block. He's going to add an image of, will they run, will they throw? Will Lacy's fast numbers be out the block? I don't think so. I've always been a Jonathan Franklin fan, even though he's slow to catch on as he doesn't understand blocking assignments. He might be the go-to guy next year. But I cannot pick a Packer receiver. I have more faith in Stonehands Finley because he's in his contract year. Mm-hmm. And any fantasy player, anyone that follows the NFL knows that your contract year is the 1 year in 3 or 4 when you perform out of your butt because you're getting paid for it. Then you go back to your stupid habits again. So if I had to pick a Packer to excel this year, it would be Michael Finley.
Got
Stonehands. I know I bashed him all last year, but he's my one Packer that I would trust this year.
Speaking of Stonehands, Jenilee, since we have a little bit of time, I wanted to bring this up with you. In the preseason, I love Martellus Bennett. I love him so much. But both him and whoever our backup tight end behind him is, and his name escapes me now, to be totally honest, our new tight end, both, speaking of which, had Stonehands. They would do the drop and, before the run. Are you concerned about that at all, or am I the only one?
Yeah, he didn't look great in preseason, but again, it's like most of the offense wasn't fully installed, and they're not. It's preseason; they're not showing the whole offense, so I'm not too terribly concerned. But yeah, he didn't look as good as I thought he would.
So you had this idea to do we're going to be. By the way, we have 2 big appearances coming up with our show that we have time to talk about. We are going to, of course, be at Tin Horn Flats this coming Sunday. Jenilee and I, we're there every week, but we're going to be recording and doing some if you want to show up, you're a true Bear fan. I mean, all the true Bear fans show up anyway, but if you want to get on the air and you want to talk with us and you want to get on the podcast and you want to get and we're going to be shooting video, definitely be at Tin Horn Flats on Magnolia, just west of Buena Vista in Burbank, sunny Burbank, California here. Not beautiful downtown Burbank, but a little off the pace. And come on up and see us do that appearance. And then the very next day, I'm going to haul ass down the 5 to Prost Land down there in San Diego to the Pacific Beach Bar and Grill, PB Bar and Grill, Prost's favorite bar in Pacific Beach. Right, Prost?
I love that place.
Yes.
Because they're a potential sponsor. So it's my favorite bar in PB. Way to go, PB Bar and Grill. We'll talk off here later about. Well,
exactly, but you're gonna be there, so that's why it's gonna be the best bar.
Live and in person, yes.
Live and in person, you'll get to meet Prost, and of course the beautiful Ashley Smash Buchanan will be there, who is the true Charger fan. Prost is a Charger fan, but by default because he lives there. Otherwise,
it's a transplant thing.
It's a transplant.
Yeah, it's like used to be in LA. They don't have a team, never mind. But yeah,
but
you get the idea.
But we will be there for Monday night, pre-Monday night football. We'll be there from 3 to 5 p.m. Come on down. It's on Garnett, I believe. Go to BigBallsFantasyFootball.com to get the exact address. And we will be playing Use 'em or Lose 'em. We'll be playing different games, and we'll be giving out our brand new Big Balls Fantasy Football swag that we're not going to mention what it is because you got to show up and find out. And the only way you're going to get our swag is if you either Facebook friend us, if you sign up on our Twitter, you tweet us, or if you sign up on our email mailing list. We're not just going to give away our swag for free, for crying out loud. You know, we're not NBC or NFL Network that has millions and millions and millions of dollars. So, Jenilee, are you excited about Tin Horn Sunday? You ready?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely ready to see the crew, you know, everyone that we don't get to see in the off-season.
Yeah. I got to get Fredo on the air. I think that would be necessary, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
The mayor of our bar.
He always does the cheers.
Yeah. Prost was I took Prost after our biggest balls of mall draft over to our Packer bar here, the Park Bar and Grill, and Prost, what'd you think of being there? You had a few beers and were looking around. What'd you think of that?
No, the park is cool, nice memorabilia, and I hate to do a time without proper sponsorship, but they're part of the Packers Everywhere program, which if you're a Packer fan, you type in the zip code you're at, and there are sponsored bars where you're guaranteed to find Packer fans, and they are a Packer Everywhere bar. You will have mates to hang out with and have a good time. Tin Horn, I popped in there. I actually have to pay off a bet from last year at the place. I like it. It's not quite as bear swag, in my opinion, as the Pine was.
Hey.
But
We don't need swag.
All you need is represent, and I'm looking forward to being hassled by a Bear fan somewhere, frickin' Burgess with a huge-ass Packer tattoo on my calf. So,
you will.
I'm looking forward to paying off that bet. I was an injured reserve last year. It happens.
All righty. Anybody have any last? Jenilee, why don't you plug your music? You sing your own theme, and we might have some new listeners this season that have just jumped in. Why don't you tell us your music sites and plug your Real Man song?
You can visit my Facebook page is facebook.com/JenileeMusic. My Twitter is @JenileeMusic, and my website is JenileeMusic.com, so you can go ahead and you can get my single that we use, the Real Men single, and then you can also get my newer single, All In For You.
Yeah, we're going to be giving you your own page on the BigBallsFantasyFootball.com site, which was up there before, but our video cast all of a sudden took precedent. But I realized we got a lot of memory on that thing, so it's going back on, and you'll be able to. We'll have links to her music there. So, week 1, our picks are done. We will be back next week, same time, 6 p.m. Pacific time, and you can call in at 646-716-7132, or you can tweet us at BigBallsFBall with any questions and call in live. Hey, Prost, thanks for all of your Packerness, your cheeseness, and your injury report.
Hey, take care, guys. Thanks for hospitality last weekend, Jenilee. It was a blast drafting in your place. It was a wonderful experience. I've never quite had to draft like that before, and I'd love to do it again. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was lots of fun to actually meet you in person, so instead of just hearing you.
All right, cool. We'll talk to you later. Guys, take care.
Later.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye.
All right. And Jenilee, any last words?
No, just go watch us on the stream.tv/bigballs. We have extra picks for you guys there. We're on the Stream TV YouTube channel, and that's about it.
Yep. Week 1, everybody. Good luck in your Week 1 games, and game on, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Your balls are showing. There are 2 types of balls. There are big brave balls, and there are little meat balls. Dicks have drive and clarity of vision.
The most important piece of equipment is called the cup. Now, it ain't no Dixie cup, and it ain't no coffee mug. And you certainly won't want to be drinking nothing out of it.
Hey, any balls in there? That's the biggest berry you ever seen, Dingleberry.
Wow, I play with these balls all day.
Well, it's my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.